Welcome to CBSE English Tutorial, a visual guide.
Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are diving deep into Asokamitran's Poets and Pancakes. But we're not just going to read through it. Nope. We are on a mission to crack the exam code for this chapter, focusing on the questions that pop up again and again, year after year. So, let's be real. How do you actually master this chapter for your exams? It's kind of weird, right? It's full of quirky characters, strange events, and a really dry sense of humor. It can be super tough to figure out what's actually important when you're studying. Well, here's the secret. It's all about spotting the patterns. We've gone through years of old board papers to basically create the ultimate cheat sheet for this chapter. We're going to walk you through the most repeated questions and show you exactly how to build those perfect answers. All right, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with Gemini's key characters, then unravel the mystery of those strange visitors. After that, we'll get into the big one, decoding the long answer questions. And we'll wrap up by looking at the humor and satire that'll really make your answers shine.
Okay, first up, the people of Gemini Studios. You know, getting the vibe between these characters is so important, especially for those short answer questions. And there are two guys in particular who create this central conflict that examiners just can't get enough of.
And this contrast, it's everything. On one hand, you've got Kothamangalam Subbu, super cheerful, can do pretty much anything, and is the boss's right-hand man. And on the other hand, the office boy, a guy in his 40s, totally bitter, who blames Subbu for his own stalled career. This tension right here is an absolute goldmine for exam questions. So let's nail down why Subbu was so important, because trust me, this question gets asked constantly. Look at those years. He wasn't just talented. The guy was a walking, talking problem solver, literally tailor-made for films. He could dream up a dozen ways to shoot a single scene. Add to that his crazy loyalty and his cheerful personality, and you get why he was pretty much essential. These points right here, they're your ticket to a top-scoring answer. Okay, now let's switch gears. We're moving from the drama inside the studio to two groups of very mysterious visitors. What happened when they showed up and how the studio reacted? Well, that's another one of the examiner's favorite topics.
First, you have the Moral Rearmament Army, or the MRA. So who are these people? Well, on the surface, they were just an international group putting on some plays. But the real key, the thing you have to remember, is that they were an anti-communist group. That's the whole reason their visit matters. So why did this anti-communist group get such a warm welcome? This is a classic question. For one, almost everyone at Gemini Studios, especially the boss, really disliked communism. And on top of that, their plays were actually amazing. The sets, the costumes, they were so good that local Tamil theaters were copying their sunrise and sunset scenes for years. And now for visitor number 2, and maybe one of the most famous puzzles in the entire syllabus, the English poet Stephen Spender. Seriously, why was his visit such a complete and utter mystery to everyone at Gemini Studios? This question is an all-time favorite for examiners. Let's break down just how awkward this whole thing was. First off, nobody had a clue who he was. Second, his thick English accent was basically impossible for them to understand. And third, think about it. An English poet talking about the struggles of being a poet to a film studio that makes simple movies for a Tamil-speaking audience? It made no sense. And the final irony? The one thing they had in common, his anti-communist views, wasn't discovered by the author until years later. It was a total failure to communicate. Okay, deep breath. Now we're going to take everything we've just talked about and put it all together. This is where we decode the big one, the long answer question. And I'll show you how to build a perfect, structured response that's going to get you top marks. Check this out. This is a real high-value question that has shown up on board papers. Kothamangalam Subbu was a many-sided genius. Elaborate. See, this needs more than just listing a few facts. You got to build a proper argument. And here is your blueprint for success. You start with a clear opening statement. Then you build your case point by point using all those details we covered earlier.
Hit him with his filmmaking skills, then his literary talent, and finally, his amazing personality. Then you just wrap it all up in the conclusion. This structure turns a bunch of random points into a powerful argument that any examiner is gonna love. All right, on to our final section. If you really want to take your answers to the next level, you have to get a feel for the author's tone. Asokamitran uses humor, satire, and irony all over the place, and pointing these out is how you score those extra credit points. Let's just look at some golden examples. The pancake makeup that turns actors into crimson monsters? That's pure satire about the illusions of the film industry. Calling the makeup room a symbol of national integration? That's just hilariously ironic, making fun of this grand idea in a place that's all about vanity. And the lawyer who loses his job when the poets get fired? Come on, that's a perfect example of the gentle humor Asokamitran uses to show how absurd the studio could be.
So, what's the secret code we've cracked? It's not about memorizing every single line of the text. It's about seeing the big picture, that clash between characters like Subbu and the office boy, the weird mystery behind the visitors, and the satirical tone the author uses to poke fun at it all.
And I'll leave you with one last thing to chew on. When you look at the success of the super loyal, always helpful Subbu and compare it to the frustration of the talented but difficult office boy, what is Asokamitran really telling us about the film industry? Is pure creativity enough? Or does just fitting in and being loyal ultimately win the day? It's a pretty deep question and one worth thinking about.
Thank you for watching. See you again in a bit.